Hello, and of course, welcome back to another episode of XTalknIsh with my boy Ish.
What up, y'all?
And of course, a very special guest, not new to the show, but we love to have him every time he's on here. That man Dooley.
That man Dooley, ladies and gentlemen, live and direct. You know where to find me, baby.
Where do they find you at, Dooley? Let the people know. Let the people know.
You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me in Africa. You can find me in America. Okay? You can find me all over the place, baby. Okay?
He said he's everywhere. He's everywhere and anywhere at the same time. I like it. I respect it. I appreciate you, Dooley. Let's go ahead and let them know what they can do and also where they can find XTalknIsh. If you are on Facebook, please make sure you like and share this broadcast on Facebook. Like I said, go ahead and go to XTalknIsh on our Facebook page and like that. Also, we are on YouTube as well with XTalknIsh. Please make sure you subscribe to that. Hit the notification bell.
Ding.
Thank you, Ish. And we also are on Twitter as well, X_Williams81. If you want to go ahead and tune in on Twitter, we are on Twitter as well. Yo. All right, gentlemen. Y'all know what it is. Week 2 now of free agency. And week 1 was crazy enough the first couple of days that everything got kicked off. Week 2 has been a little quiet, but there have been some moves that have been made throughout the league that have either raise some eyebrows or can make people say, you know what, that's a good move for that individual and for that team. And that's why we, of course, are here to talk about that once again with our guy, Datman. And since Datman is here, let's go ahead and just get straight into the NFC East and, of course, Datman's favorite team, the Washington football team. And let's go ahead and talk about some of the moves that they've made over the last couple of days. And to be honest with you, Dooley, I'm loving what I'm seeing. I really do. They, of course, the division champs of 2020-2021 season. And from what I see with this division, from the Cowboys, the Giants, the Washington football team, and also the Eagles, everybody's gearing up, maybe except for the Eagles. We'll talk about them in a little bit, but at least the Cowboys, Washington football team, and the Giants are saying, hey, why not us? For this upcoming year, right? So let's go ahead and put some irons in the fire, and let's go ahead and see what we can get with some of these free agent players that we're bringing in.
Oh, man, my man, first of all, just like you said, I'm proud of the team finally using the money, the picks, just rounding it all together, for the sake of this Washington football team. Lord knows this team has been starving for a Super Bowl win since, I believe, the 1980s. That's how long it's been since this Washington football team has won a Super Bowl, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, now, Alex Smith, to be honest, I was kind of upset we got rid of the guy only because of what he's about, what he brings to the table. Honestly, he could have been there just to teach Fitzpatrick a little bit more of the playbook, possibly, even as a backup, But honestly, I like Ryan Fitzpatrick. Let's just be honest. He's played for pretty much every team in the NFL at this point.
Seems like it.
Right. But it's like he's like pretty much the best shopped around quarterback there is. You know, who gets shopped around more than Fitzpatrick that's better than Fitzpatrick? You know what I mean? So it's tough. Maybe you guys got a player. I'm not.
Off the top of my head, I'll have to agree with you on that one, dude.
Exactly. Yeah, you got, Brandon Scherf at guard to protect him. You got to franchise tag the kid, give the kid his money. As Dion says, pay the man. Okay, which the Washington football team did. Okay, you got Curtis Samuel doing his thing. 3 years, $34.5 million. My goodness, like they paid that guy. Okay, now I'm not too sure about the cornerback pick. Okay, I'm a little fuzzy on that. Okay, because it's like William Jackson is good, but I think that money could have went elsewhere. That's just me personally. You know, for God's sakes, we let Kerrigan loose. It was about time, though. Kerrigan is an all-time great as far as the Washington football team goes, for sure. Maybe even a Hall of Famer at this point. You know, but the fact of the matter is we had to let him go because it was just time. He needed a new scene, you know. But other than that, man, I'm loving the picks. I'm loving the future of this franchise. Things are looking on the upside for once in a very long time. Okay, so I just hope they can actually put something together and take over the NFC East, you know, because let's just be honest, the NFC East is still nothing special. We still don't know who the dominant team in the division is, you know, so somebody has to take place. You know, why not let it be the Washington football team?
I 100% agree, Dooley. I mean, everything that you stated, I don't think any one of us on here on this panel can disagree with anything that you just said. I will say, though, being someone that has watched William Jackson since his college days here at University of Houston, I think, unfortunately, because he played on a bad team with the Cincinnati Bengals, people probably don't see how good of a player he really is. And I think you probably won't really see that until he's able to play amongst your system, right? So I think your tone might change on William later on in the season when you see him actually make some plays, because I think he's a really good cornerback. The money, I agree with you. I don't know just yet, you know, but because of this being his second contract, that's the reason why his money is the way his money is right now. So I understand maybe from somebody saying, well, if he didn't perform that well with Cincinnati, shouldn't he not get that type of money? Again, certain positions go based off of what they've done, either PPR or also just, again, what you're doing individually as a player instead of the team win aspect of things.
I'll just say I like the moves that the Washington football team have made. I agree with everything, including the money. The money for the William Jackson deal was the biggest hiccup for me. It's just I felt like it was just a little bit too much. But when you look on the open market, what some of the other corners have been getting, I mean, it's about right in that league. So, I mean, I guess it goes with the market, right? Not necessarily with the players' production. Although William Jackson can ball, so I do think it was an upgrade. Pretty much when I saw everything that the Washington football team was doing, I was kind of back on the bandwagon saying, you know, Washington football team, NFC East, you know, they're going to win it again. But then the New York Giants started making some moves. And man, oh man, the moves that are going on in New York right now, I'm starting to think twice a little bit. I'm starting to get a little bit of reservations here for the Washington football team. Now, I do think that the Fitzpatrick signing is an upgrade to Alex Smith. I think that he's going to bring a lot more production, a lot more stability, only because with Alex Smith, you weren't sure with his legs and then he got hurt. And so I do think that Fitzpatrick is going to bring a little bit more stability. He's going to bring more production. I think he's going to be more dangerous. And then when you add Curtis Samuel to a Fitzpatrick, to a McLaurin who's already there, like that is, man, that's going to be interesting to watch. The Washington football team offense is going to be fun to watch. If the defense can perform like they did last year and continue to do what they're doing, yeah, for sure, they are up there in the conversation to win the NFC East. It's just going to be whether or not the Giants can put their pieces together, because they are also looking very dangerous on offense now.
Let's also remind everybody, too, with the Washington football team, they also re-signed Lamar Miller, so that adds to the backfield as well. The only question I have for you, Dooley, since, again, you are the Washington football fan here, do you add another quarterback to help to maybe have two quarterback system moving forward? Because this is, let me explain. This is old Fitzpatrick. This isn't 5 years ago Fitzpatrick, and even when he was with the Miami Dolphins or even teams before, it seemed like they used him as a bridge quarterback to bridge him for the next quarterback. So could we see and I'm not saying the backup come in and take Fitzpatrick's spot, but could we maybe see him mold a young quarterback for the next year or for the next season? Because it seems like this is Fitzpatrick's job to lose. So I'm just asking, how do you see it moving forward with what y'all trying to do with Fitzpatrick?
Absolutely. What I feel with Fitzpatrick, going back to what you just said, everything you spoke is just on point. When you talk about Fitzpatrick being so old, they're going to have to draft somebody, a younger quarterback, which they're going to have to prep for the future. Okay, Fitzpatrick is not the long-term answer. Okay, he may or may not even get us into the playoffs this year. Who knows? But they need to get another quarterback out of the draft, a younger player who can possibly take over the franchise. And it can be a deep draft pick. It doesn't have to be a top draft pick. It can be somebody late in the draft. You never know. Quarterbacks to me are hit or miss. Just because you're drafted high does not mean you're, for God's sakes, the greatest quarterback of all time was drafted in the 6th round.
199.
Let's just be honest. Hold on, Ish. What you got that face over there for, Ish? What is
Ish got something to say.
I'm not understanding. I'm not understanding y'all's desire for another quarterback. I can see drafting a quarterback late in the draft, but I don't see them trying to sign a quarterback or even bring somebody in to be the understudy to Fitzpatrick when they got Taylor Heineke, who performed really well in the playoff game. Like, they feel confident enough with Heineke that they didn't feel like they needed to rush or go make a big splash when it comes to a quarterback in the quarterback market, whether it was all the people that were up for trades and stuff like that.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Ish. I just wanted to ask a question when it comes to, we've seen fools gold before, and I'm just want to use an example. Matt Flynn. We saw what happened with Matt Flynn. Had 2 great games as a Green Bay Packer and got paid by Seattle and didn't do anything, right? So what I'm getting at is, I'm not saying Heineke is not a good quarterback, but the team that he played against, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in that playoff game, I think more than anything that was just first game jitters for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I think they didn't take Heineke seriously. Because when that defense did take other quarterbacks seriously, we saw how this defense played, right? So I feel like, again, if they really do feel confident enough in Heineke, then then that will be the understudy. But to be honest with you, I don't know, because we're not in that locker room, we're not in that front office. But I don't really know if they do feel as confident in him as we think that they do.
No, honestly, X, I'm 100% with you, my man. I'm not sold on the kid. I don't know why it's just sold on the kid.
I mean, I'm not sold on him. You don't have to be sold on him. He doesn't have enough. You don't have enough from him to say whether or not he's a hit or a miss. But what I'm saying is, he did come out, he performed. Did he not earn an opportunity just to be behind Fitzpatrick?
No.
He didn't earn an opportunity to be behind Fitzpatrick.
Because if that's the case, Alex Smith should be on the roster.
He was behind.
If that's the case, Alex Smith be on the roster still.
Maybe that's the reason why Alex Smith is not on the roster. Did you think about that? That he performed well enough as the backup last year that they felt comfortable enough that he can be the backup.
The reason why
you're making that face like you don't understand roster moves.
I understand where you're coming from. I do, but what I'm saying is, a guy like Alex Smith, like Dooley brought up, everything that he brings to the table, I'd rather have this guy in the locker room than have a young buck wet behind the ears and just out there slanging that thing.
That he has 4 years in the NFL. He sat behind. But he sat behind Alex Smith for a year. He got to learn and understudy. He's going to sit behind Ryan Fitzpatrick this year and get to learn and understudy. Like, you're not asking him. Y'all said it yourself. You're not asking anybody who comes in to take the job away from Ryan Fitzpatrick. That is not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that he's taking the job from him this year. What I'm saying is, I don't understand the rush to, like, oh, do they need to sign another quarterback? Do they need to draft the heir apparent? When it's like, you got a guy that performed well in the playoffs. He obviously knows the system and is able to do well in the system. Like, why don't you let him sit behind another great guy to sit behind in Ryan Fitzpatrick? Fitzpatrick's probably going to get hurt maybe a couple games. He might get to play 1 or 2 games this year. And let's see what he does. And then when you see that, then next year maybe you in a better position to go in free agency, do what you need to do or whatever.
But then to backdoor what you're saying, then we get a more of a sample size on how good he is or how not good he is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's my own thing is he deserves the opportunity to prove that he's not the guy.
I respect that. I 100%
let's just give him the Gardner Minshew treatment. Let's see it. Give him the shot.
Okay, I respect that too.
Because
Minshew mania was going crazy. Now look at him. He getting shot by the Jacksonville Jaguars.
And I mean, I think it's realistic for the Washington football team because they're not expecting to win the Super Bowl right now. And I think that you can give him that time and still be in a good spot in the NFC East. That's my only argument for the whole, let's see what Taylor can do. And if he's garbage, then, oh, well, we had him as a backup for 1 year. Now we're getting rid of him and going to go draft somebody.
I respect that.
And it might be a better situation to draft or get a person in free agent. Because right now, who you got on free agency that you want to pick up?
That's what I was
really
thinking.
Don't got anybody there. You may go pick up a RG3, but you can pick up RG3 and see have the reunion if you would like. Or you could try to, I don't know. I haven't really looked at the quarterbacks later in the draft yet. I still got to do that research.
There's going to be a gym or two.
I don't know if there is a guy there that I'm really hyped about.
Yes. No.
Go ahead, Dooley. Go ahead.
Yeah. No. I definitely see where it's just coming from, but it's like, where me and X are just coming from is like this kid. In the NFL, nothing's guaranteed.
At all.
When you say this kid deserves a chance, I don't think so. I don't think he deserves a chance. If he deserved a chance, he would have took Alex Smith's spot, and he would have been starting by now if he was that high of a caliber of a player. You know what I mean? Yeah. So just for argument's sake there, and by the way, I never said anybody through free agency. What I first said, through the draft. It has to be through the draft. That's where they need to be seeking a quarterback, somebody young, somebody humble, somebody ready to work. And, so Heineke, we'll see what he's about. But to me, he's a third stringer. That's just my opinion. He's a third stringer.
I think he could be a valuable backup. I think we just have to see how much more of a quarterback he is when he gets more playing time. It's a saying we all know in football: practice all-stars, right? You got guys that look great during practice, and they get in the game, they stink it up. And you got the opposite. You got people that just can't catch a cold during practice. For some reason, they hit 150 receiving yards in a game because they're catching everything, right? So it's all about being able to get the opportunity, seize the opportunity, and not let it go. So that's what we have to wait and see on that one. All right, let's go ahead and move along and talk about another NFC East team, and I'm happy that this brought him up because he pretty much segue me into it. The New York Football Giants went a little crazy this week when it comes to some of the things that some of the free agent signings that they've made over the last couple of days, and I think the main one is the being able to get probably one of the most prestige wide receivers on this board, which is Kenny Gallaudet, of course, a wide receiver from the Detroit Lions. It seemed like he was either going to go to the Giants or maybe the Miami Dolphins. There were some reports he was weighing out his options. He, of course, decides to pick the New York Giants, and I think the main reason why he decided to do that is because Danny Dimes needs somebody to throw the ball to, and he's going to get his receptions. So I think it's a great signing for the New York Giants, honestly. And also, if you look at the ticker down there, you'll see that I put Kyle Rudolph, tight end, 2 years, $12 million deal with a little couple of asterisks. The reason why I did that is I want to let everybody know that at the moment, the Giants medical team is concerned with Kyle Rudolph's foot after his physical and believe that he might need surgery. So that means that his 2-year agreement is now uncertain. Both sides are discussing how to proceed. So if since Rudolph's deal has not been signed, some of these things could fall through due to this foot issue. So we have to keep an eye out on that. And, of course, next week's episode will definitely recap that as well. But other than that, being able to sign a Dory Jackson, Leonard Williams franchise tag him, and also be able to sign John Ross as well. I don't know about you guys, but I'm liking the moves the Giants are making, and at the moment, it's on you, Danny Dimes. They're putting the pieces around you, and it's on Danny Dimes to get it done. If he does not, I ain't talking about go out there and throw 45 touchdowns, but at least get better, right? We need to see you take a step up compared to what you did last year. Saquon was out, right? You had nobody around you. Saquon's going to be back 100%. You got a number one wide receiver. You got your defense on lock. The defense last year was pretty decent. Now you're adding all these different pieces on defense side of the ball too. I'm excited to watch this New York Giants football team. I want to see what they can bring to this to this NFC East division to maybe shake some things up and take this division back.
Oh, you said it. I think this everything you've seen from the New York Giants in free agency to me just screams we're not going to be like the Jets. We're going to give our guy the weapons, and if he's not able to perform, then we're ready to move on. This is his make or break a year. Like, you got to prove it now. Daniel Jones, they've given you the opportunity. They gave you the weapons now. You barely touched on it, really, even with what you covered. You got Gallaudet. You got Sterling Shepard. You got Ross now. You got Slayton. I mean, they are deep at the wide receiving position now. They got Saquon Barkley, one of the best all-around backs. I mean, it's Evan Ingram at tight end, even without Rudolph. If Rudolph comes in, that's great depth as far as adding a veteran. The offense for New York, I mean, it's been a really, really long time since they've had an offense that you could really be excited about. And
I agree.
Man, if you're a New York Giants fan, you got to be excited about this offense. You got to hope that they're able to put it together, and then it's really going to be on the defense. Is the defense going to be able to stop people, mainly that Washington football team that we just talked about? Are you going to be able to stop them in the NFC East? Philly's trying to reload some with Jalen Hurts as their guy, and then, of course, you always have that team from Dallas that they never – for some reason, they never give up. They're always there anyway. So
they got to do it for the star.
They might cause some problems.
Yeah, they might. I mean, but let's not forget, boys, there was only one team in the NFC East that made the playoffs last year.
I agree.
You want
to remind them, Dooley?
Say that again, my man.
So you want to remind them?
Oh, and it wasn't the New York Football Giants. It was the Washington football team, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Now, the New York Football Giants, here's what I will say, because I'm a fan of the game. I'm not just a fan of teams. I'm a fan of the game. I'm a fan of the players. Okay. The fact they used Saquon till the man crumbled, it's great for them that they're trying to get Rudolph. I hope that goes through just so they can be full strength and we can beat them. Okay, the right way. Okay, Rudolph. And when you talk about Gallaudet, that gives Saquon Jones more people to throw the football to, which will allow Saquon to relax more. Because let's just be honest, coming back from this injury won't be easy for Barkley, and we don't know how he's going to come back. For God's sakes, he may come back brittle. And Saquon's a strong man. But if you overuse him, they're not going to be using him as much as they once did. That's already in the game plan for sure. Let's just be honest. If we were the offensive coordinator, all we'd be talking about is, okay, you know what? We got to let Saquon take this down off. We can't have Saquon in the game right now. So I believe the offense did get a whole lot better. Daniel Jones is one of the best young quarterbacks in the NFL. I like the upside to the.
I ain't gonna lie. I'm going to stop you on that one, Dooley. I'm not sold at all. I'm not even gonna put him as one of the top young best quarterbacks out there because I don't see it. I'm being honest. I don't see it. I have more faith in Sam Darnold than I do Daniel Jones.
Did this man say that Daniel Jones was one of the best quarterbacks?
I just want to make sure I didn't hear it. I just want to make sure I ain't tripping.
He's one of the best young quarterbacks. He's decent. He's decent.
He's decent.
I'm gonna need you to word it correctly because you say you went from being one of the best to decent now. So
okay. The man has an upside. Okay, that's all I'm saying. You know.
Okay.
All right.
I like what I've seen out of the kid. You know.
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't. But
you know, I mean,
another story for another day.
Yeah, the team's not perfect, but I mean, hey, but you know what? Enough of these New York Football Giants. I don't really have much to say about any other team in this division. You know, they stink. Okay, they stink. Okay, go ahead, my man.
Ish.
I mean, I'm with Dooley. I'm done with him. I've said my piece. I'm excited about the offense. I still think Washington wins the division, but it'll be fun to watch them, though. For once, I won't be sad. I won't be sad when they're on, like, you know.
Yeah, I agree. When they're on prime time, when you got to unfortunately watch them, yeah.
I won't be sad that they are on there.
Yeah, I 100% agree on that one because we all know, unfortunately, due to the New York market, they got to put New York teams on there. I understand. But, hey, that's an eyesore to watch from time to time. Ain't nobody trying to watch that. But let's go ahead and talk real briefly on Tennessee Titans because I do want to mainly talk about – here you go, Dooley. I do mainly want to talk about Josh Reynolds, the 1-year deal going to the Tennessee Titans to be the running mate with A.J. Brown. Of course, Corey Davis left to go to the New York Giants. So Josh Reynolds, one of the better receivers for the L.A. Rams, their third wide receiver is now coming to replace Corey Davis. And again, I just want to talk about this very, very briefly. But Ish, do you feel like that is something that move that the Tennessee Titans made is an upgrade, downgrade, or pretty much the same with Corey?
I think it's a downgrade. I mean, the type of athlete that you lost, you're not replacing him with a like for. It's not a like for like switch for me. I mean, I think that Corey Davis was a way better athlete than Josh Reynolds. I think Josh Reynolds, I mean, you can't completely throw him away. He's put up some numbers. He put up some numbers last year with the Rams, and you got to remember that he wasn't their first or second option. So you have to keep that into account when you're looking at his stats. But at the same time, when you're bringing a guy in, you're expecting him to be the number 2 for A.J. Brown, who you know is going to be double teamed. You know when it's crunch time, teams are going to be looking his way. When you bring a guy in to be that number 2, I was hoping they would bring somebody in a little more solid. I mean, I could have seen, bringing in somebody like a Juju. I could have seen, bringing in just somebody a little more solid for me. I think he's a big question mark. It's a hit or miss with him. We're going to see. He's either going to sink or swim really fast. And if he sinks, the Titans could be in a really bad spot because I do feel like Corey Davis was part of the reason why A.J. Brown was as successful as he was, and the reason why that play action offense was as successful as it was, because when you have that solid number 2 to pair with that number 1, it makes everything a lot easier. And if Reynolds is not that solid option, yeah, Tennessee is going to have a hard time this year.
Dooley?
Man, no, I agree. I mean, let's just be honest. To me, they downgraded when it comes to weapons. We already know where the ball's going in Tennessee. It's going to King Henry. And now, when you got every all eyes on the defensive backfield, on the offensive backfield, knowing it's going to King Henry with no receiving threats on the back end, it kind of makes the Tennessee Titans a little abysmal, offensively. I mean, great job on signing Norris Jenkins back to a 2-year deal to get routed on the back end, of things. So good job, Tennessee. Bud Dupree, however, now we're talking, okay, coming off the edge, making things happen for that defense, which is something they really haven't had is a dominant pass rusher, okay? So I got Bud Dupree wreaking havoc. Matter of fact, Bud Dupree is the key to that defense this season, upcoming. Let's
hope he performs better than Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We all know Clowney isn't the player he once was. Or should I say, Clowney was never the player we expected him to be. You know what I mean?
You could say that. You could say that.
However, Clowney's not bad to have on your team. He put it this way: he's definitely above average, in my opinion. So good job to the Tennessee Titans on that. But Bud Dupree, we're talking about a stud, ladies and gentlemen, right there. But then Josh Reynolds, the 1-year deal. The Titans made some decent picks, but guess what? Free agency isn't over, and the Titans aren't done. Am I right or am I wrong, X?
To be honest with you, I think you're wrong. I think
they're done.
Yeah, I think we're done, and I think we're looking to the draft. The main thing was addressing the pass rush situation, which why they got Bud Dupree. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not as high on Bud Dupree as you might be. I think him and Watt together made both of them successful because of the scheme that they're in, and also because of how much havoc both of them can wreak. So it's going to be interesting to see how Bud is able to play in this defensive scheme that the Titans have. Now, I will say he can still be dominant because of the defensive players that the Tennessee Titans have that will allow him to, rush the passer or, of course, play off the edge or whatnot and contain for the run. But at the end of the day, from what I see with Bud Dupree, it's on him. He has all the intangibles. He has everything that he needs to have to be a great defensive player in this league. But are you going to do it every play, every quarter, every half, every game, everything, right? So that's what's going to separate him from being J.J. Watt when he was in his prime to being or Aaron Donald right now. That's what separates, I think, a lot of people is what are you going to do this on a consistent basis, right?
I mean, real quick, just one more signing to highlight the Norris Jenkins signing. That for me is a very important signing because you lost Malcolm Butler
and
Adoree, and I think that it's going to be interesting to see how Norris Jenkins performs because last year he was, on the other side of Marcus Lattimore. I don't think he was really called to do some of the stuff that he did previously in his career. And now you're putting him in a spot where he is being called to be a guy that's going to probably be locked up on the number one from time to time. He's going to be called to make some really big plays. Is he going to be able to step up after the year kind of off where you had a stud on the other side to where now you are that guy basically carrying the from the corner spot? Is he going to be able to do that? That's going to be big because in this division of the AFC South, the matchups between secondaries and wide receivers always is a big factor on who wins these games. You can just see what T.Y. Hilton has done when he's played against the Texans. You can see some of those things back when you had DeAndre Hopkins and some of the things he was able to do against some of the secondaries in the AFC South. So I do feel like that is a big thing to watch because this NFC secondary, as much as we were saying the defense was bad last year, if Janoris Jenkins doesn't step up, this defense could probably be worse. Just from a secondary standpoint, I like Bud Dupree, and like X said, it's up to him what he does, how he performs in the system. But even if the pass rush is there, if the secondary is not there to help them out, it could be a long year for Tennessee.
I agree, and I'm also not sold on Kevin Johnson signing either. No. Kevin Johnson is a former first-round pick of the Houston Texans.
And bounced around now.
He's been bounced around a couple of times. Last team he was on the Cleveland Browns. And this is one of those signings, the reason why he came to Tennessee because of Mike Vrabel. That's pretty much what that is about.
Exactly.
And to be honest with you, again, I'm not sold on Kevin Johnson because I've watched him since he was a rookie here in Houston on Hard Knocks. I remember him being on the TV show, and he does not seem like a hungry corner. And what I mean by that is when you play football, there's different types of athletes. And what I mean by that is everybody's skilled. Everybody's talented, especially when you play in the NFL. But then you have some dogs, and then you have some people that are out here that just, we playing it because we love the game.
Going
it's
through
cool.
the motions.
Going through exactly. He's an individual, and again, no disrespect to Kevin Johnson, but he's an individual that comes from a really good background, His parents are really good people to where the hunger, I don't think is really in him. So I don't really know if I'm going to see him perform like a Norris Jenkins. And Norris Jenkins is 32 years old. That's another factor that I'm worried about too. You're older. So I don't know if it's going to, I don't know if the secondary is going to be worse than last year. Like it's just saying, but it definitely can be. It could turn into a worse secondary. But overall, the Titans, I'm going to be honest with y'all. If this does not work out in his first 4 to 6 games, this season can go 8-8, 9-7 real quick. It really could. All right, so let's go ahead and wrap it up on the Tennessee Titans. Unfortunately, our man, that man, is going to have to leave us for tonight.
That man.
But before you get up out of here, that man, can you please make sure you let everybody know where to find you?
Absolutely. You can YouTube channel Dat Man Dooley, like, comment, subscribe. I'm also on Instagram. I have a Facebook page as well. Do me a favor and like my Facebook page. Thank you so much for this opportunity to be on XTalknIsh, and I'll see you guys some other time.
Hey, we appreciate you, Dooley, man.
As always, you already know we will definitely put Dooley's information underneath the description box on YouTube and also on our podcast on Anchor.com as well.
Yeah.
So, like we said, Dooley, we'll see y'all next time. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. God bless.
Later, man.
All right. So with that being said, appreciate Dooley as always for joining us. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up for tonight with a couple more topics we just want to briefly touch on. Like Ish said earlier with Juju. Juju was a hot commodity out here in these free agent streets. And he decided to flirt a little bit with a couple of teams out here. But he said, you know what? I'm going to be loyal. I'm going to go ahead and stick with the team that drafted me. And I'm going to stay with the Steelers. He had an opportunity to be the number 1 wide receiver with the Baltimore Ravens to maybe join Lamar Jackson. Or also be a part
2 with the Chiefs.
Or also be a part of the Kansas City Chiefs with maybe running it back and being able to really have an opportunity to maybe win a Super Bowl or go to the Super Bowl. But he says, hey, I love Pittsburgh too much. I love the Steelers family. I love the Steelers organization too much. And I'm going to go ahead and re-sign with the Steelers. Ish, how you feel about that?
Bruh, he made a mistake, man. Loyalty in this business
will get you
let's
hurt.
Call it what it is. Loyalty
will get you hurt.
Business will get you hurt, because if you go to Pittsburgh and you don't perform, do you think Pittsburgh is coming after you to come help you out? No, bruh. They don't care. They only want you there to perform. And he had not. I also think, bruh, in Pittsburgh, the reason why his season looked the way it did is because he had no AB. He had no true number 1 guy to help him out. Juju is not a number 1. He is a solid number 2, which is why when I heard that, Kansas City was looking at him to come in and pair with Tyreek Hill and with Travis Kelce, like, what better spot for you as the guy that is going to be you're gonna be the yard getter, like you are gonna be that yard getting possession receiver in the Kansas City offense. Like you gonna get one-on-ones, you're not getting doubled. You got Tyreek over the top. He's gonna carry the safeties over the top, blow that top off, and there you are.
Exactly. Sit right
Travis Kelce working with you. I mean, they're gonna have to work on Travis Kelce, so you're on the opposite side. Bam, bam, you in there. I mean, it was looking good. And they offered more money than Pittsburgh.
They did.
So to me, I'm very confused by the decision he made. I understand he wants to be loyal. He says he loves Pittsburgh too much. He loves the organization too much, the fans, this and that. But to me, this could be like, when we look back on his career, this could be the biggest mistake of his career, if we're just being honest, because we've already seen it for one season. Like, yeah, you had a decent season this year, but what they're asking you to do in Pittsburgh is not what you are made to do. It's just not the kind of receiver you are. And the rest of the receivers didn't step up. There were plenty of drops. Yeah, they were undefeated to begin the season, but that was just because they were finding a way to win games despite the drops. But then they started losing games, and everybody started to talk about the drops. Everybody was talking about the receiving core. Everybody was looking at them. They were talking about Juju dancing before games.
Corvette.
it's perplexing to me. I don't understand who's in his camp giving him this direction. But hey, best of luck to you, Juju. I hope that you are able to perform this year, and get the kind of money that you should have got and that you deserve in this next deal after this 1-year deal.
Now, I want to go to the comments right quick because I did miss this one when we were talking about the Tennessee Titans. From our boy Lee, he says, downgrade from Davis. Of course, he's talking about Reynolds, I'm sorry. And he says that also the loss of Adam Humphries in the slot and also loss of Khalif Raymond, who was just and only a speed threat. Obviously, Juno going to New England as well. That is going to be a big loss. So it's going to be interesting to see how this offense unfolds. I agree, Lee, because that was literally the best statistical offense the Tennessee Titans have ever had. So it's going to be very interesting to see how everything plays out. Also, Lee talks about with the Steelers, he said it really took less to be a number 3. I'm sorry, he really took less to be a number 3 in Pittsburgh. I don't understand the decision, but then again, we aren't in the locker room. And know these bonds in relationship, he would have been perfect fit for in Kansas City. He's a dog across the middle and gets needed yards. I know you guys are Kansas City fans, and I understand y'all's pain and hurt when it comes to maybe adding Juju, but who knows? Maybe Juju coming to the Chiefs maybe would have hurt the offense in the locker room.
Oh, it would have only made it better.
What I'm getting at is maybe him being young and immature and that stuff. Yeah, now, I think that's something that's him being young. I think he's honestly in the best city and best spot for him to grow up, because if he doesn't, his ass is going to be gone.
Yeah.
So I honestly feel like that is the best situation for him in this particular time, because with it being a 1-year deal, like you said, it's time to make it or break it. And if you don't pick up your game, because like you said in the beginning, Ish, a lot of people expected you to be the next AB, and you haven't been that because you're not AB.
That's not you. Yeah, that's not your skill set.
Exactly. So if you want to give Chase Claypool the number 1, which I wouldn't as a wide receiver, I ain't gonna give nobody nothing. You gotta take it from me. But if that's what you want to do, let Chase be number 1 and you be number 2. Okay, well you have to step up, Juju, because now it looks like and it seems like the stuff you do off the field is more important than stuff you do on the field.
Hey, it is what it is, man.
It is what it is. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. I think this is very interesting. I know this is something that isn't a sexy headline, but I think this is something that we need to be just keep your eyes looking out for in the regular season, because I'm high on the LA Chargers next year. I think the LA Chargers can do something next year if I was gonna say Garrett Gilbert. My bad. My bad. Run me the QB name right quick. My bad.
Justin Herbert.
Herbert. There we go. I don't know why I said Garrett Gilbert. My bad. Justin Herbert. Yes, if he's able to have the year that he had last year and continue and become better year in and year out, I think he can be the next one. Right? We just have to wait and see. But adding a veteran tight end like Jared Cook to this offense, it allows you to now have a safety blanket. It allows you to have somebody that knows what they're doing in the middle of the field that you don't have to coach up. If anything, Jared Cook gonna coach him up too, to let him know, hey, bro, look, when I'm 10 yards down the field, go ahead. Look, Drew told me how to do this. Like, I think adding Jared Cook to this Chargers offense helps out tremendously, not just with the offense, but with the growth for Justin Herbert as well.
Yeah, I do like a veteran guy in that spot. I think it always helps a young quarterback when they got a tight end that they can go to and make plays, and having a veteran tight end who's just got that savvy about them, I do think that helps. You do lose some production that you got from Hunter Henry, but I think that it's going to help you with Jared Cook. I don't think you want him to lean on the tight end, but you do want him to have that safety valve, and that's what Jared Cook will be for him. He won't be that ultimate playmaker, but he is going to be that good safety valve that's going to help Justin Herbert. He's going to, coach him up. He's going to be that big brother. Hopefully, he's going to be that big brother that puts his arm around him in the locker room, talks to him about how Drew Brees prepared, some of the things that they did, some of that stuff that'll help him, kind of mature a little bit faster and grow in this NFL game, because they are asking a lot for him in LA. They want him to be that guy. They want him to be the savior for that team, fill in Phillip Rivers' shoes. As much crap as we give Phillip Rivers, he still was able to perform, put up numbers, and occasionally get them to the playoffs and maybe, win at least one game in the playoffs. So if Justin Herbert's going to, live up to those expectations, he definitely needs the right people around him, and adding Jared Cook does that for them.
I 100% agree, sir. I 100% agree. All right. So besides that, we're going to go ahead and talk about Trubisky very, very briefly, because he does not get he hasn't done anything in the league yet to be able to get talked about in more than 10 seconds. So Trubisky got added to the Bills roster to back up Josh Allen. To be honest with everybody that's listening in, I think this is a great move for everybody involved. It gets Trubisky out of a very toxic situation with Chicago, which, to be honest with you, shouldn't have been in the first place. It gives Trubisky an opportunity to learn from Josh Allen. It gives the Bills a quality backup that has played games in this league, won games, and all we need you to do, if just in case Josh Allen gets hurt, is to come in and don't mess up the game for us, which he can do. And moving forward, if Trubisky is able to learn on the job for a year or two, it gives him an opportunity to go to another team and maybe get another contract somewhere as well.
Yeah, so I pretty much see this as the same type of situation for a Jameis Winston or even Teddy Bridgewater when he went to New Orleans. I see the same opportunity for my man Mitchell Trubisky. I think the problem in Chicago, he was never going to be that guy, and he was always going to have that shadow over his back, because when they trade as much as they had to trade to move up and they get you instead of Deshaun Watson or Patrick Mahomes, you're always going to be compared to those guys, and you're always going to be held to the same standard as those guys. So to move and get an opportunity with another team, kind of sit behind somebody for a year, maybe get in, for spot injury work here or there, I definitely think this is what he needed. Just like I think Jameis needed that from Tampa Bay. He needed to leave Tampa Bay because they thought he was the savior. They thought he was going to win them Super Bowls like he did for Florida State, winning national championship games. I think Trubisky needs his time to sit behind a guy, not really a veteran, but somebody who is young and has been successful so far. Sit behind him, learn a little bit. Get some time to, study the game a little bit more, because I do think he was thrust in earlier than he needs to be in Chicago because of where he was drafted and the other guys that were drafted along with him, right? But let's give him that shot to learn, and then we'll see what happens. Probably, he'll get a shot a year or two from now to maybe be a starting quarterback. Who knows? Or at least be a guy that challenges starting quarterback in camp.
I 100% agree, sir. I 100% agree. Before we get up out of here tonight, we're going to, again, talk about a couple more topics, and we'll let y'all go so y'all can enjoy the rest of y'all's night. AJ Green. Now, this was a breaking news that happened right after our show last week. We're going to hit on a couple of these. But we talked about the Cardinals and the moves that they were making, and I said this a couple of weeks ago when they signed J.J. Watt that they were not done, and that they were going to add some more pieces and to be on the lookout for the Cardinals. A lot of people laughed at me. I have no problems with people doing that because that's what people are going to do. It is what it is. But then you sign A.J. Green, and you're able to get Rodney Hudson in a trade from the Las Vegas Raiders, who has only given up 10 career sacks in 10 seasons. All I'm saying is you're going the right direction. You're improving. You're now, the same way we talked about with Daniel Jones with the Giants. Hey, this is on you. Cliff. And I ain't talking about for State Farm commercials. Mr. Kingsbury, this is on you now, son. This is on you. You got all the pieces you want. You got all the ingredients you need in this chef kitchen. Whip it up. Whip it up, son. Make the face, but how you feel about it is?
I mean, I'm not as high on the AJ Green signing as you appear to be.
I am. Because look, seriously though, I think we're really sleeping on AJ Green right now. I know he's had a couple of years where he's been injured, and at the end of the day, nobody performs except for Chris Collinsworth and also Ocho Cinco. Nobody performs the way they need to perform in Cincinnati, bro.
Hey, I mean, I'm not as high on the signing. I hope he comes out and he proves me wrong. He's the AJ Green of old, but AJ Green is old, and don't feel like
so if AJ Green's old, we old then, right?
AJ Green is old, and I don't feel like you're getting much in that signing other than a veteran presence in the locker room that may help out here and there. He may be a good safety valve here and there, produce a little bit for you, but you're not asking him to be like light the world on fire, right? So I expect him to be solid, but I don't expect much else from him. As a result, I don't think that the kind of pressure that you're thinking on Cliff is going to be there just yet. I think he's going to get one more year before they really put the pressure on him. However, to me, I hate saying this, but to me, based on what they have done so far in free agency, it's a playoff or bust. I understand the division that they're in and how difficult that division is going to be. That's the toughest division in football. It was last year. It looks like it's going to be the same again this year. But to me, it's playoff or bust. I'm sorry, Cliff. You had your time. They're giving you the pieces now. There's no excuse. You gotta at least make the playoffs. I'm not telling you to go in the playoffs and make a deep run, but what I'm saying is you must make the playoffs. So I'm looking for them to take that step and at least make the playoffs this year, or else, Cliff Kingsbury, I don't think that the organization's going to put pressure on him this year if they don't make the playoffs, but I do definitely feel like his time is starting to come. The writing's on the wall now. The moves that they have made is telling you that right now. The writing is on the wall. Just like we said about Daniel Jones, the writing's on the wall. Like, they are making the moves now so that you have no excuse. They're preparing that way for you.
I 100% agree. And with AJ Green, to be honest with you, I understand where you're coming from. He's 32 years old. I said the same thing with Norris Jenkins. But we also know playing DB at 32 and playing wide receiver at 32 are two different things.
Oh, yeah, two different things.
Okay. So with AJ Green, he doesn't even have to put up 1,000 yards. To make it seem like he's back. I just need him to catch his 60 passes, 700, 800 yards receiving, take pressure off of Hopkins, open it up for the running game, and let this offense work. I really would like to see this Cardinals offense at full throttle and see what they can do with all these pieces together. That's what I would really like to see. And I also think when they get into training camp with all these pieces they have on offense side of the ball, defense side of the ball, iron's going to sharpen iron. And I want to see how both of these teams, how both of these sides of the ball are able to come together into the regular season. And I agree with you. Minimum playoffs. I got them winning at least 9 games so far, at least 9. So
I don't know. They're still the Cardinals to me. They still got Cliff Kingsbury as the head coach. He has baffled me. Even when I was trying to get on his bandwagon, trying to hype him up after giving him such a hard time, then he let me down. He let me down bad.
Don't worry, I feel the same way with the Dolphins.
So I don't know about Cliff. I'm really skeptical. It'll be a long time before I jump back on his bandwagon or hype him up.
I understand. Speaking of the Dolphins, we'll go ahead and end it tonight with a former Miami Dolphin linebacker, Kyle Van Noy, because I spoke about him a little bit last week. And I said that don't be surprised if he ends up back in New England. A day later, after I say that, he ends up signing back with the New England Patriots. It makes sense, to be honest with you. And also, if you look at what New England is doing very quietly, the defensive side of the ball is coming together very nicely. The offense, they still have a couple more pieces they still have to address. But the defensive side of the ball, especially with a couple of their players coming back from the COVID list, the COVID opt-out list that they decided to sit out last year, this Patriots defense is going to be top 10. I'm thinking defense-wise in the NFL. It's gonna be a pretty good defense. I might be on a little high on it right now, saying top 10, maybe top 15, at least top 16, top half of the NFL. But we'll just have to, of course, wait and see statistics-wise and all that stuff and see how they flying around in the first 4 to 6 games of the season. But it makes sense for Kyle. It makes sense for the Patriots. Do we see the Patriots with what they have coming together being able to actually contend for, I know it's going to sound weird me saying this, but contend for the Nfc East against the AFC East, I apologize, against the Buffalo Bills? Yeah, weird that sounds. That sounds weird saying that. Right?
I mean, it does kind of sound weird, but at the same time, it's where they are. It reflects their current standing. And to be honest, by making that statement, it's kind of disrespectful to Miami because I don't know that they've done enough to bypass Miami. Like, yeah, they made the moves and everything, but we still got to see it on the field. Miami still has a very solid defense. They have made some signings on their offensive side of the ball to help Tua out. Not to mention they got the 3rd pick in the draft, so they can further, continue to help Tua Tagovailoa out. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to compete. It might be a 3-horse race. I do think it's somewhere close to a 3-horse race for the AFC East. I still think that Buffalo is the front runner. Then I think it's kind of like neck and neck with Miami and New England because of all the moves that New England has made. Although in order for it to be a true neck and neck race, you need Cam Newton to step up on the offensive side.
That's the X factor right there.
Yeah, you can't have that production that you had last year. You got to have a step up from Cam Newton. If you don't get better quarterback play, no, you're not competing at all for the AFC East.
Exactly.
You need him to step up and make better plays. You got him the weapons this offseason. You're hoping that a year in the system has helped him a little bit. He's learned the system a little bit more. Maybe you'll tailor the system a little bit more to him to help him out with the right kind of throws. And now that he has those weapons, they're able to get a little bit of separation. There's a lot of ifs there for the Patriots. And that's the one thing about the Patriots that right now I'm still kind of like, I don't know, because you just got all these question marks. Yeah, you made all these great signings, but the question mark that still lies that we've already seen before is Cam Newton at quarterback. So like you said, that's the biggest X factor right there. Is Cam going to turn it around and show us a little bit more so that they can take that step back up to competing for the AFC East?
I 100% agree because, like you said, they could jump Miami if Cam has a bounce back year, or they could it could be the worst team in that division if Cam has an 8 touchdown season.
Yeah,
no matter what the defense does. Mm-hmm. So we just have to wait, of course, and see. And I know that might sound like a cop-out answer to some people, but
yeah, cop-out.
Hey, it's just one of those things where we seriously have to wait. And with the Patriots, it's really how can I say it's easy to want to say we can just throw them out and forget about them because they don't have Tom Brady, because they're not the same Patriots. But when we do that every time with the Patriots, they just seem to come and just smack us right back in the face. You feel me? Like, it's just so I have to. It's like you're in a scary movie and you kill the scary monster, and then all of a sudden he has opens that one eye, like, oh my God, he's still not dead. Like that's the Patriots. You think that you finally killed them, and they're still alive, ready to come out and wreak some more havoc. So it's gonna be very interesting to see what happens with the Patriots. And speaking of Miami. The Miami Dolphins also decided to add Will Fuller for the 1-year deal as well. So that, of course, upgrades their offense a little bit if he can stay healthy.
If he stays healthy, that's true.
That's
he's
the main thing
for the first game of the year. So, you got to hope he doesn't get in any more trouble because then that's even longer of a suspension.
He shouldn't, but time will tell on that one. And of course, as always, everybody can tune in next Tuesday, 9 o'clock on our Facebook page, YouTube page, or also Twitter at XTalknIsh. And I don't know about you, Ish. I don't know if we should let them know now, but we're going to wait till next week. We're going to, people that have been tuning in, we appreciate y'all's support. We really do. But we'll let y'all know the special news next week. We have some very interesting news to let y'all know about. So we appreciate y'all, family, for tuning in tonight as always. And we will see y'all either on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter. So thank y'all for tuning in to X Talking Ish. We will see y'all next time.